Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Conversations. My name is Naomi Blamire. I am the managing partner at BL Consulting, and I am your host for this show, Conversations. Conversations is a platform to engage and inform our Haitian community, whether we're talking about Haitians in leadership, the Haitian vote, or issues impacting the Haitian American community. We are here to ensure that you are in the know. Today, we have with us newly appointed Commissioner for the City of Miami, District 5, Mr. Jeffrey Watson. If you have not already done so, we ask that you please share the live so we can begin a great conversation with this newly appointed commissioner who is going to be serving our little Haiti community and Haitian Americans living within that community and beyond. So we look forward to an amazing conversation. Again, if you have not already done so, please take this opportunity to share the live. We are also live on YouTube at BL Consulting and on this particular page at BL Council. So thank you so very much for everyone who is joining us. Stephanie Thomas, thank you. We ask that you please share the live so we can ensure that every single one who lives within that community can hear about the commissioner and all that this particular commissioner will provide for us and all of the great programs and services that he's looking to bring to our little Haiti community. Again, thank you so very much for tuning in. Take this opportunity to share the live. At this time, we are going to bring to the stage newly appointed Commissioner, Mr. Jeffrey Watson. Welcome, Commissioner. How are you today?
Very good, Naomi. Welcome. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome, sir. It is a pleasure for us to have you. You are newly appointed commissioner for the city of Miami, and we are excited to hear about your appointment and to connect with you and to hear about the programs that you have already rolled out and all of the great work that you are positioning to bring to the city of Miami. We are going to get right into it, Commissioner. For all those that are tuned in that may be hearing of you for the very first time, please tell us, who is Jeffrey Watson?
That's a good question. I grew up in Miami. I grew up actually in probably the most soulful parts of Miami, Overtown, Liberty City, Coconut Grove. And so I honor those places and the time that I spent and the experiences I had and the education I learned from doing so.
Excellent, Commissioner. And tell us about your story. What was the path that led you to actually getting this appointment? We know that you just did not jump out of the sky. You just did not come into the political terrain. You have been around for a very long time. Please tell us about this journey.
You know, I've had a long walk in this space, in the political and government service space, public service space. It started probably some 30-odd years ago, both from as a political party participant from college, college Young Democrats to Dade County Young Democrats to, I was the first African-American statewide president of Young Democrats. I was a treasurer of Young Democrats of America. Equally as well, I after serving locally or being activist locally per se, I took a job with a young man about 25 years ago named Xavier Suarez. I served as his chief of staff, and way before, and from there I moved upstream to Washington, and I served as both the deputy assistant to the president for intergovernmental affairs in the White House under President Clinton. And look, in my I guess private public life, when we moved from Overtown, we moved to Liberty City, and in doing so, my grandfather's church was on Friendship Missionary Baptist Church. now on 58th Street and 7th Avenue, at a time, tumultuous time in the Haitian history. And we then received a lot of Haitians coming over in the early 70s. My pastor at that time, Reverend J. Jenkins, decided and opened up the church to a lot of Haitians at that time because no one else was doing so. After a certain period of time, met both Father John Just and Jacques Despinosa, a friend, and over the years, a number of outstanding citizens of the Haitian community are friends of mine. My pastor went around and decided and told the Burdines of the world, you got to help. And we literally housed people that were coming over at our church for a long period of time until I guess the Archdiocese then sent down Father John Just, realizing all these Baptist ministers were stepping in and doing what they should have been doing. And of course, at that point now, the community began to grow and expand. We were on 58th Street at that time. The heart and soul of what became Little Haiti was 54th Street. And from there, the radio stations were live, and every movement that took place in Haiti, we felt right here in the heart of Liberty City. That's been my experience and has been my experience and my understanding and growing up, trying to understand a lot of different cultures in Miami, because there are a lot of different cultures in Miami. Miami is a mixing bowl of a number of beautiful people, cultures, and if you just engage with others, you'll always begin to find out more about yourself.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a great story. Like I stated earlier, you have some really deep roots in this community and have been around for a very long time.
I even had an opportunity probably about 6-7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. I even had an opportunity to go to Haiti as a consultant to 2 different presidential candidates, and so I've had not the full experience, but I've had a great experience in connecting with the Haitian community, both here in Miami and of course there in Haiti.
Excellent, Commissioner. What years did you visit Haiti?
Oh boy, it was right at the beginning of President Martelly's term, during the time that he was running. Both he and Madame Manigault were running, and I had an opportunity from 2 different sets of friends to sit and speak with both of them about what I thought was the path that should be taken in order to now bring Haiti on a solid foundation and move forward.
So not only have you been involved in politics in the South Florida area, you have also been an international consultant. Is that something that you were doing full time, or is something that you did as time avail?
Well, I was doing it. Well, international consulting on the economic development area, I've been doing in my private life for a long time.
Okay, how many years have you been in the consulting field?
Oh man, officially as a business, 96, sold the company and really kind of just been doing more real estate and renewable energy since early 2000s.
For those that are watching and who may be hearing about international or economic consulting work on an international basis for the first time, what does that really entail?
Well, here's the thing. The foundation of communities, countries, cities is the same. You have people. You want to ensure that the people have an economic foundation, so that they can take care of their families and prosper. And it doesn't matter whether you're what color or what language you speak or where you're from. Everybody ultimately wants to live in a safe environment, raise their family, their offspring, so that they now can be productive citizens. And as long as they can do that, whether they're in a shack, a hut, or a mansion, they'll feel good about themselves and they'll feel that they are contributors to society. And so I always look at the economic development environment as a platform where everybody now can participate, which brings to bear my short platform is economic inclusion, building capacity, and a oneness of the community, elevating the status of all of our citizens.
Thank you, Commissioner. On November 18, 2020, you were appointed to the City of Miami Commission for a one-year period. Tell us about that experience and why will you only be able to serve for a one-year period?
Well, the previous sitting commissioner decided to move upstream, and he ran for Miami-Dade County Commission. So I am serving out his term. So that's why it's only for a year. And at that point, we'll determine, we'll determine as a community. I will determine as a person whether or not it makes sense to continue to move forward. At this point, I've committed to serving out his term and not running. It's not a legality involved. It's just a commitment I made to the commission, who did not necessarily want to believe that they were picking the community's representative.
And I actually was watching that commission meeting where you were appointed. Can you share a little bit with the community what the expense would have been had there been an election at that time and not chosen to appoint someone just to serve the remainder of the outgoing commissioner's term?
Well, it varied. I'm not sure that I'm the one to speak to that. It varied. Different persons had a different assessment of financially what it would have cost to have an extra election, somewhere between $100,000 to $180,000. And look, this is a time where there's a lot of uncertainty. It's still not clear in which direction we're going. There's still a full-blown pandemic that we've not seemed to be able to get our arms around. And so it was decided that, maybe we not spend money on an extra election, but in fact, now have someone selected in the process that I was involved in. And at that point, allow that process to take its course. And then from there, we'll have elections when general elections are supposed to happen.
Great, Commissioner. And now we have you as a sitting commissioner. Please tell us, what is your vision for City of Miami District 5?
Well, look, if anyone knows the district from a professional perspective, you'll know that this district is one of the poorest districts in the city. I fight with other colleagues about how poor they are, and we all fight to see who's the poorest. The reason being is the poorest guy gets the most money. Well, that's one side of it. But the other side of it, in fact, the city of Miami, as is technically designated on the income side, which is the area median income, is probably as low as anyone can get. It's in the bottom 50 or top 50, the way you want to look at it, of low income earners in America. That means that you now have to be very vigilant about what you're trying to do in order to help those people transition to a higher economic bracket. And when you do that, then you lift everyone up, and then you're able to help them from a government perspective. The private sector has to do their role, clearly. Small businesses have to do their role, clearly. But now we have to provide the environment where small businesses can thrive. Big businesses can now go out and recruit young citizens or residents, as well as those to be trained so that they can take on the new economy. And those sort of things now will come primarily before you get to the point where you provide environments where you can have affordable housing, home ownership, clean up neighborhoods, provide safe neighborhoods, and those things and the like. The city of Miami is responsible primarily with 3 or 4 things. Right? That's garbage, fire, police, and then it sets the stage for making it environmentally safe. Environmentally safe takes on the like of zoning, housing, those sort of things that now complete our mission, because our mission is somewhat narrow. the county's mission is more broader. It deals with social services, and most of my constituents are involved in the social service space. So we try to do the best we can with those social services things that we're funded for in order to ensure that the residents get their fair share. But the vast majority of the social services programs are controlled by Dade County.
Okay, great. Commissioner, you have been in the seat for 52 days now. Please share with us some of the things that you've been able to accomplish during these 52 days, understanding that we are still going through a pandemic.
Well, it's great you asked the question, and I've been asked the question as well. During the time that I started, it's usually a lull for all governments. People are getting ready for Christmas and holidays. And clearly, what I would have normally been doing is less business and more resident contact. And so it was heightened, the resident contact. The business kind of subsided. The resident contact heightened, and it heightened because, one, it's just the holidays. But more importantly, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so I was able to do a couple things that we like to think that during holiday season, whether you feel good or bad, if we have an opportunity to help you feel better than normal, then we tried to establish some sort of normalcy during the holiday season. In doing so, we received our allocation of monies from Dade County, and I probably held a number of food card distributions, food share programs, toy drives, toy giveaways during the course of that time. So, and in doing that, what did that mean to the residents of District 5? I handed out during that course of time up till December 31st, I handed out $1,500,000 of food gift cards that could be used, food, some light medicines, and some other things in 3 different parts of my district. In the Haitian community, after we found out that most of the cards were for Publix, I went into the community. I went to Bravo on 54th Street and 2nd Avenue in order to now have them be a part of the program, and then others, Winn-Dixie and Liberty City, and then Price Choice in Overtown. Why is that important? Here's why that's important. And a lot of us go to Publix. It's an option. It's an option we always tend to take for the most part. But for the most part, the people who live close to those neighborhood stores, they have access to them, unlike others who may not have access to Publix. The truth is, I only have one Publix in my district. And so now, how do people from Liberty City get there when they don't have transportation? How do people from Overtown get there when they don't have transportation? How does people in Little Haiti get there when they don't have transportation? So there's a connectedness to how you serve in the policy and policies that you put forth. After finding out, because we all found out in the paper by me that Publix was used, I decided to go into these stores and change. And there were some changes made early December to allow for now other participants to be a part of the program, which gave access, which also now turned around and made it such that stores that support the community, in fact, are participants in the program. Here's the thing, Bravo supports programs. They support Radio Pimon they support Haitian businesses. People are close there. And so since that business could not be a part of the business grant program, it made sense to now have them be a part of the food program so that residents in and around that area could clearly accessible. I mean, I go there all the time. So it's not like I tried to do that. I go to that store, I shop there. And so I know a lot of people I know the people that come in. And so it made it easier. So when you can't help someone one way, you help them another way. You make it more accessible. You have a business now that they also need help. And so they now have an extra sort of incentive to do better in the community, to provide programs in the community, so that the residents now will continue to shop there. So that's what happened during that time. And then during the course of the holidays, from about November 27th to 31st, I handed out about $1,500,000 in food program cards. I did three toy drives, and I say toy drives, toy giveaways. Two was done. One was done with Radio Pimambuk, and one was done at Hadley Park with Dr. Rudy Moise, and we joined him collectively and did a toy giveaway program with him. So that's the sort of things that was being done over the holidays. Last but not least, we had two programs that I announced on the radio, and one of the programs were for people who needed mortgage assistance. It was a first come, first served basis. And if you was behind on your mortgage, you could access a city program that allowed you to pay. What I then find out is that I really need to now go back and revisit that. The program ended on the 30th, but clearly there's a lot of people who have rent problems, and we need to try to address that issue because it is an issue. Once the state decided to hold off on evictions, now landlords who need their money as well are doing all that they can to collect, and we need to figure out a way to help people. Look, and it's not, people want to make it seem as though it's always the least of thee. I've been in food share programs. I participated in about 4 food share programs as well. I've seen the lines where Mercedes were in the line, Jaguars was in the line. Everybody gets hit by this. Everybody gets hit by this. I just talked to a young lady, gave her a food card a couple of days ago. She's been laid off. She's an engineer. So we're not talking about, somebody looking at someone and say, hey, well, they got a food card. You know what? Everybody needs a little help. And so to the extent that we can, then that's what we're trying to do. We're not looking on anybody or down on anybody. We're looking at you and said, hey, if you need a hand, ask for a hand. I visited people that police officers told me, Commissioner, you out here doing giving out cards? Yeah, I'm out here giving out cards. Well, you know what? I just visited a little old lady. They're not coming out because they're scared. They're in the high risk category. They're in a high risk category. They're not trying to come out and stand in line. So you know what? We got to go to them. I visited, my last day was gut wrenching. 10 people, at least. Everybody cried because someone thought about them, someone showed up for them, and someone thought enough to come by and have them get help. And so, when you sit in these positions are the people's seat, it's not mine. And so you got to do the best you can to ensure that everybody gets a piece of fair representation. And that's what, I'm trying to hope happen.
Commissioner, 52 days, and you gave us a mouthful. And I know specifically that you were also working on programs for small business owners. Please tell us what you were able to accomplish in that area as well. And I didn't want to leave that out because, I tend to think I'm a business guy. I handed out personally about 65, 70 applications to businesses. Everybody didn't respond. There are some nuances in our business community that I'm going to try to now help strengthen. Businesses were affected and have been and continue to be affected. But you know what? We don't have checking accounts. We don't keep good records. A lot of things that we don't do. I had a workshop for people. I asked, do not reject anybody until I sit down with these people who you're talking about did not submit proper documentation and find out why they didn't, if they can. And if they can, we should continue on evaluating them to see if they now can get assistance. If it was up to 20,000, look, if it's 5, that's helpful to someone. And I've dealt with a businessman, what happens is that the federal government establishes procedures, then the county establishes procedures, and all of a sudden, by the time it gets down to our businesses, it's a lot of hurdles we can't overcome. I talked to a gentleman, and he ultimately got some assistance. He has been in his location since 1984 on a month-to-month basis. He don't have a lease. I mean, it's insane because that's not what one is used to. You're a businesswoman, not what one is used to. And so what we have to do is go in. Somebody needs to be at the table and say, you know what? Our businesses don't necessarily have that. They're not doing anything wrong.
They don't have it. So if someone has a lease or paying somebody in a check, now look, he had for what? 84, 16, 30, for 36 years, he has a check to the same person. So you know what? The man had a lease. He had a contract. He expended, and he had one for the last 9 months. He should not be excluded because he don't have a lease. Okay, let's go get him a lease, a piece of paper, get him a lease, put the name on it, and you know what? Hand it in. So we did a session like that to help some businesses, and we're now going to continue to kind of make that permanent through this time frame, make it permanent, and now establish operationally where businesses in the district can come to get technical assistance. I've already funded 2 organizations that they can provide technical assistance to businesses, so that now we're generally the lenders to our businesses are generally governments. Governments extract more information than banks. So that means we need to be prepared. If you're prepared, you can get in line sooner than later. And now it's on a first come, first served basis. You get served first rather than last, and then you get left out. So I recognize that's a problem. I've already moved to try to put that down. And so we'll be able to do that going forward, so that when hopefully, as a result of this bill that was signed in December, when additional monies come down, our businesses will be able to take advantage of that opportunity as well.
Great, Commissioner. You said so many great things, but one of the things that literally stuck to me is the fact that you went outside of the box to really assist these businesses that are legitimately operating, however, may not have the paperwork, right, that so many of us are so accustomed to. And I know serving the Little Haiti community, that definitely means a lot, because you're going to find companies that have been there for decades, right, and may not necessarily be operating in the traditional sense. So having a commissioner who understands that and is willing to do what is necessary to meet these small businesses where they are as a small business owner, I know that's priceless. That's priceless. And that leads us into what is available right now. We know that there are several things that ended on December 31st, but for an individual who is either a small business owner or a homeowner or a renter in your district, District 5 in the city of Miami, what is available right now?
We're waiting to find out. I've exhausted all of the funds they allotted for my district. And so now we're waiting to find out, hopefully next week, what's going to happen going forward. What are we going to have going forward, so that we can now hopefully participate in making the rules and regulations more amenable to our businesses, and still be able to help them at the same time and comply with the data and information that's necessary. There's a particular quirk. If we were just kind of handing out and doing a paper, that's one thing. But they had to track this information in order to assure that it was being done properly. And so there was an extra reporting requirement. Some of it had been relaxed, but now we're going to find out again. Hopefully next week, we're going to find out again what's going to be available going forward. And we'll be sure to now come back to you and others and make sure that the community knows what's going on. Clearly, the biggest thing that people don't understand is that information is gold. And when you have information, you can help yourself. When you don't have information, you're almost in a perilous state, because then the people that have, they're always the ones that get. They're not any different than you, but they have the information that's necessary. And so, last but not least, in the course of now trying to help make things right, I just want to say a little note on the accomplishment side. Soft accomplishments, hard accomplishments, all kind of categories. The Little Haiti Soccer Club, which is a number of fine youth in the Haitian community, they were now sitting on the sidelines as others were using the park. And so now I've tried to look into the situation and make it where they have the ability to use the park. What did I do in doing that? I covered them sponsored them for the month of January to use the park. And I put forth legislation that's coming up shortly, shortly as in 3 or 4 days, so that they now are on par and they'll be able to use the park gratis, because those young men, just like the football programs in some parks, the basketball programs in some parks, those young men learn a lot through playing that sport. It's a cultural sport that they support, and they should be on par with every other sport that now we have in this community in our parks. And so that's going to take place as we move forward in the next week or so. And then they'll be able to use that park as their own. They'll be able to call that park their permanent home. And I'm quite sure as we get a professional soccer club, the sport will begin to grow, because people don't understand and know soccer is the largest sport in the world. And so that's going to be something we can all be proud of. Maybe one day we will be rooting for someone who grew up on Little Haiti Park that's a professional soccer player on the likes of Pelé and Ronaldinho, all those guys, because they are participants in our communities.
Commissioner, congratulations on all of your efforts. I do believe in the last 52 days, you have been Team No Sleep and just working hard to ensure that your tenure on the commission is one that is going to, speak of success and of partnership and growing our community from the inside out. I know for so many of us that are joined in right now, we have our grandmothers, we have our mothers, we have family members who are living in Little Haiti, although you may not necessarily be maybe on the outskirts. I would love for you to discuss the structure of your office right now, who is working alongside you, who do you have representing the Haitian community as a liaison, so we can know if there is a need, if someone wants to communicate to you, what is the structure right now?
Well, right now, clearly I had up until I think this past week, January 4th, to kind of do some restructuring of my staff. I'm still in the middle of doing that. I have Natalia Sangster, who is my office person, because she handles everything. She's a beaut. She is probably as good as anybody can get with respect to a staff person, trying to make sure the day-to-day activities of these things go on. I met a young lady and a young man during the course of my activities going back, 3-4 months. And Miss Ludmilla Dumont, who ran for mayor of Dade County, has been helping out, and she is now probably going to get elevated to kind of an advisor to a commissioner of sorts, so that I can now understand. She's very passionate about her community. She's headstrong about what her community needs, what it should have. And she's also strong enough to knock me down if I ain't listening right. And so clearly you'll find, as people try to elevate the Stacey Abrams of the world or Kamala Harris's of the world, our women tend to be close to the ground and understanding of the issues that affect us in a real sincere way. And I found her to be someone that's very conscientious. She's a doctoral candidate, but she also can stand on the street and holler with the best of them. And so she's going to be a very strong voice in going forward in what we do. There's also going to be a young man coming on board, and I'll be able to announce him to you shortly. And he's going to be a liaison to the community as well. And so others will be joining me in the next week or so that we can put a staff together, and you'll know exactly who it is you can contact and reach out to in order to complain, say thank you, or whatever, because you get all of it. For every thank you get 10 complaints, and for every complainer, at some point they've had to say thank you. And so we're going to try to do the best we can, friend or foe, to help people in the community as best we can.
Thank you, Commissioner. I've had the pleasure of connecting with Natalia, and I do believe she's going to do a phenomenal job. Congratulations to Ludmilla Dumont, former mayoral candidate for Miami-Dade County, who's working with you, and all those that you're going to bring on. As a community, we stand with you, we stand by you, and we're going to ensure that we bring the support at the level that you need in order to be successful during your tenure as commissioner. At this time, we're going to shift gears a little bit and to ask you, how do you balance life, Commissioner? We're going through a pandemic. You just have been appointed to this position. You have a family. How is your personal life going? How are you balancing things?
Lightly. Lightly. As you know, so unlike you, Naomi, I don't have a little one that I have to now drag around to every meeting and every community meeting and every other situation exists. My two guys are bigger guys now. One has just got a master's at the University of Central Florida, and one is finishing up at West Liberty over in west coast of Florida, and then he's going to move on to play basketball overseas. And so, between the two of us, we still continue to guide them. And my wife is a private consultant. She does a lot of work in Puerto Rico. And so we continue to try to guide them, give them advice, sounding board. They never get too old to be trying to tug on you or in your pocket, as you know. And so you try to do the best you can. It's a little bit lighter because they're older. But it doesn't take away from the fact that they need their time as well. And because you don't give them their time, then they're doing something crazy. And Lord knows we don't want that to happen. And so, they're all excited about what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time. And so they probably feel like, hey, now they get a little recognition for what he's been doing, because he's been doing it for so long. God bless him. And so I get them to volunteer every now and then and participate. And so they enjoy that as well, because they're now seeing a different side of it. And particularly with what things are going on in the world today. So it's not easy, regardless of what time you do it. But sometimes sometimes you feel like it's rewarding. Sometimes you feel like, man, did I do the right thing, or did I miss out, or am I doing the right thing? And so you take all of it in stride, and you pray and hope that you're doing the best that you can, guided by the hand of the Lord. Because if you do that, then you're going to be all right. And that's what I believe.
Absolutely, Commissioner. That balanced life question is one that I always pose, because, at the end of the day, we are all trying to balance our lives, as in the midst of everything that's going on, as well as find purpose in serving, find purpose in leading, find purpose in becoming founders, co-founders. And I think that it is humbling when we think about how we're balancing life and how we're balancing our children and our spouses and everything else that comes to the table. And as a Black man in America, I salute you. I salute you for being in a position where you can actually assume disappointment and to lead as a father, as a husband, and to do it with dignity and honor, and to do it inclusively, right? Understanding that we as Haitian Americans, probably being a large part of your constituency, have a voice. We need to be heard, and you're taking the necessary steps to ensure that that takes place. So, thank you so very much for that. At this time, we're opening the floor for all those that are on. If you would like to ask the commissioner a question, whether it's concerning District 5, or, he has a wide range of experience in the consulting world. I'm sure that we can take the next 5 minutes to have a great dialogue. If you don't have any questions, we'll move on to the next phase of this conversation. In the meantime, Commissioner, we have Stephanie Thomas that says, good morning, Commissioner Watson. We have Peggy Lay that says, good morning, Ms. and Commissioner. Elizabeth says, very inspiring. inspiring. Rose Grand Pierre says, "Go for Parks. Happy New Year." Um, and we have Marjorie Colette who says, "Good morning, great morning." Sorry. And it seems as if we do not have any questions thus far. Commissioner, as we close out, is there anything specifically that you would like to share with the Haitian American community? Understanding, obviously, this platform is created for us, but our reach is greater than just our community.
Yeah, I want to share this one thought that we all are residents and participants in the bigger picture to the extent that we can all lean on each other in times that one is having difficulties, and we understand that we all will at some point have difficulties. We're going to be better off in doing so. And as long as you have a voice at the table, then you should no longer believe that you can't participate in this process like anyone else. I share with the Haitian community that my premise is in elevating the status of the community. That means District 5 and the community, not just one part, not just another part, but everybody. And so that's kind of what I use as a barometer for going forward and making decisions and trying to make sure that there's economic inclusion, building capacity, and a oneness in elevating the status of our community. If we can work towards that, we're all going to come out better on the other side as we continue to take care of our families and take care of our communities and take care of our neighborhoods.
Commissioner Stephanie Thomas says, "Thank you, Commissioner Watson, for your insights and your leadership in D5. Margie Colette says, "Well said, Commissioner." Another Thomas says, "Yes, thank you for your leadership." I do believe that in this season, we are just so thankful to have leaders that are showing up, leaders that are inclusive, and leaders that have the capacity to do the job. And so as we continue to partner with you, connect with you, and work alongside you, we ask that you continue to keep us engaged. Let us remain in the know. We are here to assist in whatever way that we can to help you to get the message out. Someone can be doing a phenomenal job, right? And they're literally working tirelessly every single day. But if there is not a media to communicate what they're doing, then it's almost as if it's in vain because it's not reaching the ears of those who may have a particular need that would be able to be met by that individual. So we didn't get any, I'm checking YouTube, sir. We didn't get any questions. Obviously, everyone is just waiting to see all the great work that you put out. It's only been 52 days. You've been doing a great job thus far. Thank you so very much. Any final words?
Yeah, I just want to say that if anybody has any concerns that need to be addressed or what have you, they can reach me at my office at 305-250-5390. And we'll try to do the best we can to bring about answers that they may have or address the concerns they may have. This is a short journey. I think that I call it 52 weeks of progress. I look forward to doing the best job that I can based on the knowledge and my experiences in the past, hoping to bring about hope and inspire people to want to do better, want to be better, and hopefully want to live better in their communities. If I can do that, then, they'll always now not be looked at in one light, but be viewed in a whole different light.
Excellent. Commissioner, we have Commissioner Watson telephone number 305-250-5390. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we just shared it in the chat for all those that are on. We just put it on the screen. If you can just take it down, if you need anything and you want to contact the Commissioner's office, the numbers on the screen is 305-250-5390. Commissioner, we're going to leave you with to give the final words before we sign off.
Yeah, just want to know we also, as well as now coming to people like yourself, Naomi, we're also going to get out into the community so we can do some meet and greets, and I'll update you on time and schedule of those so we can hear. Not everybody can get down to Pan American Drive, and so we're going to try to go out into the community and hear their concerns as well. And like I say, it's something that you have to want to do. You know, local government, people are right up there on top of you every day. You know, when you go to Tallahassee or go to Washington, they only see you every now and then. But when you now drive around and go to the same stores they go to and the same doctors they go to and the same barbershops they go to, you're going to hear it all the time. And so we're up for the challenge. We look forward to doing a good job. And I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Absolutely, sir. Cheers to 52 weeks of progress. We are rooting for you, and we truly believe that the progress that's going to be made is going to take us to another level as a community, as a people, and as leaders, right? You know, who would have guessed? I remember the first time I met you. I saw you as an influential man. I saw you as a man of great capacity. But long and behold, next thing I hear, you know, Commissioner Watson. Like, oh my God! You know, life has its ways of literally turning the corner with us. But we believe those turns are all for the better, so that new ideas, new initiatives can rise to the top and make us a better community and cause us to thrive, right? I think that I can say for Haitian Americans, for a very long time, our parents, our grandparents were here in this country surviving. They just needed to put food on the table. They just needed to pay that one bill. They just needed to, you know, be able to purchase that first home. And by God's grace, with the first, second, and maybe in some families, third generation of American-born of Haitian descent, we are no longer seeking to survive. We are thriving. You know, we are business owners, we're teachers, we're doctors, we're attorneys, we are elected officials. And so we are looking to actually establish ourselves and for generations to come, so that the sacrifice that our parents and our grandparents made in order to come to this great country would not be in vain, right? It would be something that we look back on and say, you know what, we made something out of it. And of course, in order to do that, we need the partnership, and we need the collaboration with able leaders such as yourself. So thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. Again, Stephanie says 52 weeks of progress with many blessings. Rose Grand Pierre says good luck in your new job. And so, sir, we're rooting with you. The Haitian community is definitely here to support, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Until next time, everyone, have a balanced day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.